Good evening and welcome to the Channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Prince William and Prince Harry have walked together behind the Queen's coffin in a procession in London. The brothers, along with the King, followed the coffin on foot. The King's 3 siblings, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, were also in the procession. Guns were fired at Hyde Park. The procession eventually reaching Westminster Hall,
the Father, the Son,
where a short ceremony was held, attended by the royal family. The late Queen will now lie in state until her funeral on Monday.
It meant so much just to be able to say goodbye to her and to have the grandchildren, just to see them, seeing her was something I'll never forget.
Very sad, very profound, and we didn't expect the Queen to pass away, did we? She was going to be invincible. We never expected her to go.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people have joined queues along the River Thames to pay their respects to the Queen in person. People queued through the night for a chance to see Her Majesty's coffin at Westminster Hall. The queuing will run continuously until 6:30 in the morning on Monday, the day of the funeral. Over the next few days, hundreds of thousands of people are expected to file past the coffin to pay their respects, with a huge policing operation in place. In other news, Ukrainian officials say they are targeting towns in the eastern Donbass region after making a series of gains in a rapid counter-offensive.
The view is very shocking, but it's not shocking for me.
President Volodymyr Zelensky here visiting the retaken town of Izium, saying his forces were fortifying their hold over 8,000 square kilometers of recaptured territory in the Kharkiv region. In recent days, Ukraine's army have reclaimed swathes of occupied territory, forcing Russian troops to retreat. US President Joe Biden said Ukraine had made significant gains, saying it was clear that the advance had enjoyed success, but cautioned that the offensive could be a long haul.
It's clear the Ukrainians have made significant progress, but I think it's going to be a long haul.
The Kremlin has announced that China's leader Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin will discuss the war in Ukraine and other international and regional topics at their meeting later this week. Mr. Xi is making his first overseas trip since the beginning of the pandemic and is beginning it today in Kazakhstan. The Kremlin said the two will meet in Uzbekistan at a summit that will show what they call an alternative to the Western world. He will then meet Mr. Putin on Thursday at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Samarkand, which will run until Friday. European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen has called for cuts to electricity use across the bloc and windfall taxes on energy firms to tackle high prices.
Accounted for 40% of our imported gas.
She told the European Parliament that gas and electricity prices had hit all-time highs after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. She called for electricity consumption to be cut at peak hours by at least 5%. But plans for a cap on the price of natural gas, a key Russian export to the EU, were put on hold. And finally, a brief hostage situation at Lebanon's Blom Bank is over after an apparently armed woman and her associates left the bank carrying more than $13,000 in cash from her own account. Around 11 a.m. on Wednesday, a woman carrying what appeared to be a gun entered Blom Bank in Beirut's Sodeko neighborhood and demanded access to her funds. Lebanon's banks have locked most depositors out of their savings since a financial crisis took hold 3 years ago, leaving much of the population unable to pay for basic needs. It was the second such incident in Lebanon in around a month. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.